Let's bring in Mossad veteran Oded Ailam. He's live from Tel Aviv. Oded, thanks for joining us. Is this a deal you would do?
Thanks for having me, first of all. And I wouldn't call it a deal, but it's more of sort of a blackmail. But under the circumstances, morality overrides the objections of the war, which is to eradicate the Hamas. So this is more or less the same deal that was on the table in the beginning of the invasion into Gaza, with a few changes and a little bit flexibility of both sides. But it's more or less the same deal.
It's just worth pointing out that there's an explosion on the right, it looks like.
They're getting hit. Which goes to my next point, Oded. Sinwar is on the ropes right now. We know Israeli special forces have been hitting him hard. Plus, you got your infantrymen, the ground game, as well as the air support. So the question is, did they come to the negotiation table because they're fractured and they need some time to regroup?
Absolutely. This is exactly the point right now. The Hamas right now is, as you said, is on the rope, but it does not feel that it's going to be eradicated. Not now. Mm-hmm. We need to use much more force in order to convince him that this is its last chance, and then maybe in the future, the near future, we can get a better deal.
Oded, in the original reporting before the Israeli government and then Hamas agreed to this hostage negotiation, you called it blackmail, and I understand why you say that. The original reporting was that Iran would have to agree not to use drone surveillance over Gaza. Do you know if that is included in the final deal?
It's difficult to say what is included in the final deal or not, but I think eventually in the next few hours, we will all know what is included in the final deals. Right now, it seems that this is included in the final deal, which actually it hinders Israeli efforts to gather intelligence on the ground. You must understand the most fundamental intelligence that being gathered is on the ground. It's by troops, it's by drones, it's by documents, and whatever you have access to. So this hinders, in a way, our ability to see how the Hamas is going to regain its force, change its position, and even reach more hostages.
Oded, so right now they've been in there for about 3 weeks inside. They're able to go into a mosque. I understand one of the big stories yesterday, they went into a mosque and saw a whole weapons depot and weapons plant inside a mosque. So they have information on the ground. The CIA, evidently our special forces also on the ground. How much information and intelligence can we get if there is a drone, which they're all undetectable by the eye, above, to see where these hostages emerge? How valuable is that?
Enormous, because right now the Hamas will use the pose, and I call it the pose, for a few purposes. First of all, to regain supply. Second, to move hostages where they are in a place that the Hamas thinks are not safe enough for their purposes. And the most important thing is to have an overall view of the Israeli forces on the ground, because you have to take into consideration the Hamas does not have the full picture where we are and what we are doing, because they are partially blinded by the fact that they have to hide in the tunnels. This will enable them to see the overall picture, and this can be a major risk to the Israeli forces that are right now on the ground.
So, I guess the next question would be, okay, we know part of the negotiation with Hamas, but what does this mean for the Houthi rebels? What does this mean for Hezbollah? Do they pause as well? or are they going to be assisting Hamas trying to get some of their major commanders out of town? Because I think that's part of the calculus here. They can always reorganize and get more folks on the ground, but they need their leaders to stay in place for their ideology purposes, right?
Absolutely. I think the Hamas is trying desperately to gain support from the Houthis, from Hezbollah, from Iraq, and from other places, and especially from the West Bank. Right now, they failed on all fronts. I mean, the Hezbollah is joining the war, but on a very, very medium scale. So, of course, the Houthis and the Hezbollah will try to, let's say, increase their effort for support, but I'm not sure how much it is working and how much it's actually supporting the Hamas leaders.
Because a lot of people feel as though if Hezbollah has got to be neutralized at the end of this conflict, because a lot of people in Israel do not feel safe, even if Hamas is virtually defeated and destroyed. Thanks so much for joining us, Oded. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.